I broke off my engagement with my fiancée after she wanted to take time off to study her ex. I sold our house and disappeared. Then she begged me to come back. I, 34M, was engaged to the woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. We were together for 5 years, engaged for a year and a half, and had just bought our first home together. Everything felt right. I thought we were building a future. Turns out she was already entertaining the past. Let's call her Megan. She was brilliant. Beautiful, articulate, confident. The type of woman who could command attention in a room without trying. We met at a mutual friend's art show. I'm not the type to walk up to people cold, but she smiled at me from across the room, and that was that. We clicked. Over the years, we built something stable. Sunday mornings with coffee and pancakes. Her ridiculous playlists while we did dishes. Planning trips we never actually took. We didn't fight much. I trusted her completely. Hell, she was my emergency contact, my medical proxy, she was my person. I noticed the shift in late January. Small things. We were planning our wedding for October and she started dragging her feet on decisions. She'd stare at her phone a lot more, like a lot. I'd say something like, hey, what about a fall color palette for the invitations, and she'd barely look up. Then came the emotional distance. She stopped saying I love you first. Always tired, always distracted. Her phone would buzz and she'd flip it over, face down. I asked her about it once, just straight up, is something wrong? She smiled like she pitied me and said, no, baby, I'm just stressed. Something in her tone was off. Like I was bothering her. Like my concern was a burden. But I pushed it aside. Because you don't assume your fiancé is lying to you. Not when you've been through the highs and lows and come out stronger. Not when she's cried in your arms and talked about baby names and decorating the nursery. Then, 2 months before the wedding, she sits me down in the kitchen. I remember the sun was coming through the window in strips and the kettle was hissing behind me, and she hits me with it. I need to take some space for myself. I didn't even understand what she meant. I asked her, like, a break. She nodded. I've been thinking about my life. About the things I haven't processed. About him. Her ex. The guy before me. Josh. The one she called toxic and emotionally manipulative. The one she said broke her. And now she wanted space to revisit what that relationship meant. She said it like she was asking for a weekend to go to a spa. I remember just staring at her. Like I didn't recognize the person sitting across from me. So you want a break from our engagement? From me to go study your ex? She had the audacity to say, I need clarity. This isn't about leaving you. It's about healing myself. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood up, walked into the bedroom, shut the door, and sat on the edge of the bed for maybe 2 hours. My mind was blank. Like someone had wiped it clean. I wish I could tell you I fought harder. I wish I had one of those dramatic monologues people give in movies. But I didn't. Because in that moment I realized something important. If someone you've committed your entire future to wants to put everything on hold so they can emotionally reconnect with someone who hurt them, that's not your person. The next morning I left before she woke up. Took a few clothes, went to my brother's apartment across town, and crashed on his couch. I told him everything. He offered me a beer and said, you're lucky. Some guys find out after the wedding. The thing is, I was supposed to be the one devastated. And I was. But there was this calm under it all. Like some part of me had been waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like her distance the past few months had already warned me. I stayed gone. A week later, I called my realtor and put the house up for sale. I'd paid for 80% of it anyway. Megan didn't fight me on it. She moved her stuff out like it was a breakup after a few dates, not a 5-year relationship and an upcoming marriage. No crying. No begging. She just said, I hope this isn't goodbye forever. I sold the house in under a month. And then I left. I mean left, no social media, new number, forwarded my mail to my cousin in Vermont. I cashed in vacation time, rented a cabin 3 states away, and just vanished. For the first time in years, I could hear myself think. But of course, it didn't end there. Because a month after closing on the house and going full ghost, guess who came crawling back? So, a month after the house was sold, after I dipped off the face of the earth and started rebuilding my sanity in a quiet town with more trees than people, Megan found me. No idea how. I never told her where I went. I changed my number, deleted social media, left no forwarding address. I even asked mutual friends not to tell her anything, and to their credit, they didn't. But on a Thursday night in early June, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need to talk. Please. Just 5 minutes. I stared at it for a full hour. My heart wasn't pounding or anything dramatic. I just felt tired. Like all the emotional circuits had been fried. I didn't answer. The next day, another message. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. Then she called. And kept calling. I didn't pick up. 2 days later, she sent a photo. It was the two of us in the old house, a selfie we took after painting the living room. We're both smiling, flecks of paint on our cheeks. I remember thinking, back then, this is what happiness looks like. The caption under the photo? This was real. I know it was. Please let me explain. I'm begging you. I cracked. I'll admit it. I called her back. I shouldn't have, but I did. She answered on the first ring. Oh my God. I didn't think you would. I said nothing. She filled the silence. I don't know where to start. Josh, it was a mistake. I thought I needed closure. I thought I needed to face that part of my past, but I didn't realize I was walking away from my future. From you. Still, I said nothing. So she kept going. Told me she and Josh met for coffee. That one thing led to another. That it didn't feel right, that he was the same manipulative prick he'd always been. That it made her realize how good we had it. How much I meant to her. I miss you, she said. I miss waking up next to you. I miss pancakes on Sundays and how you always hum in the shower. I was stupid. But it didn't go far, I swear. It was emotional. Not physical. That line set me off. Do you think that makes it better? I asked finally. You left our relationship to emotionally rebond with the guy who wrecked you and you think it's okay because you didn't sleep with him? She got defensive real quick. I'm not saying it was okay. I'm saying it wasn't as bad as you think. Then she had the nerve to say. But you ghosted me. You left. You sold our house without warning. Like I was the villain in this story. I told her she made her choice. She wanted time off to reconnect with her ex. I gave her all the time in the world. And now that it didn't work out the way she hoped, she's crawling back like nothing happened. Her voice cracked. I didn't think you'd actually go. I thought maybe you'd fight for me. Read it, I almost laughed. Fight for her? I was fighting. Every damn day while she slipped away piece by piece and made plans to re-explore an old flame. While I laid awake wondering what I'd done wrong. While she told me everything was fine and kissed me goodnight with the same mouth she used to call Josh behind my back. She asked if we could meet in person. Said she was going to therapy now. That she understood her attachment issues. That she was willing to do anything, counseling, couples retreats, even move states if I wanted. I told her I'd think about it. I lied. I needed closure, but not her version of it. I needed to see the truth. So I called her best friend, let's call her Danny, someone I'd been cool with back in the day. I hadn't spoken to Danny since the split, but I asked her straight up, was it really just coffee and emotional closure? Silence. Then Danny sighed. You deserve to know. And that's when she told me. That Megan and Josh had gone to a cabin for a weekend to talk. That she didn't come back until Monday. That she told Danny she was confused but needed to know for sure before making any life decisions. She slept with him. More than once. And she lied to me again. Even now. Even after everything. That was the moment I realized she didn't come back because she missed me. She came back because her backup plan fell through. Because Josh was still the same selfish bastard. And now she was scared of being alone. I haven't responded to her since. But yesterday she showed up. At the cabin. So yeah, she showed up. At the cabin. Out of nowhere. I was outside chopping wood, yes, like a damn cliché, earbuds in, trying to distract myself with music and sore arms when I turned around and there she was. Megan. In a long coat, hair blowing in the wind like this was some Notebook sequel. She was holding a duffel bag and something else in her hand. My heart dropped into my stomach. First thing out of her mouth? You didn't leave a forwarding address. I didn't even respond. I just stared at her like she was an alien because in that moment, that's exactly what she felt like. A stranger wearing my fiancé's face. She took a step closer holding something up. It was the ring. The one I gave her. The one she had slipped off her finger when she left, put in a drawer, and told Danny she was taking time to think. I brought it back, she said, her voice small. I stayed silent. She tried to hand it to me, but I didn't move. Just stared at it. It glinted in the fading light, this tiny, beautiful little object that used to mean forever. Then she set it on the porch rail and stepped back. I'm not here to ask you to take me back, she said. Liar. I didn't say anything, so she filled the space again, just like she always does when she's nervous. She started talking about therapy. About how the weekend with Josh was a mistake born of fear. How seeing him again made her realize she was chasing some illusion of the past. Something about unfinished emotional loops. I finally snapped. Are you actually quoting your therapist right now? She blinked. I'm not your closure, Megan. I'm not your safety net or your emotional growth arc. You don't get to lie, cheat, gaslight, and then call it healing. She flinched. It wasn't cheating. You your ex while we were engaged. I raised my voice for the first time in months. That's not exploration. That's betrayal. You wanted time to figure things out, and instead of being honest, you lied again and again. And then she cried. Of course she cried. Megan always cried when she felt cornered. But this time it didn't move me. It felt rehearsed. Like she was performing grief, not living in it. What did rattle me though was what she said next. I'm pregnant. Silence. Again. Only this time it was louder than the woods around us. I just stared at her. She wiped her face. I don't know if it's yours. That right there? That moment? Felt like my soul cracked. You don't know. I repeated. She shook her head. It happened during that weekend. And before I left, she trailed off, eyes pleading. I laughed. I actually laughed like some bitter old man who's seen too much war. You're not even sure who the father is, I said. And you thought showing up uninvited in person at my literal safe haven was a good idea? She started rambling. About timelines. About doing a paternity test. About raising the child together if it's mine. I stopped her cold. No, I said. No. You don't get to bring this here. You don't get to infect this space too. Her eyes widened. Infect. That's what this is, Megan. Every room we shared together is poisoned. Every memory. Even this, I gestured to the cabin, was my attempt to salvage me. You showing up is just more corrosion. She finally shut up. I picked up the ring off the porch railing and held it between us. This meant something. Once. But it doesn't anymore. You killed it. Then I walked back inside. She stayed on the porch for a few minutes. I watched her through the blinds. She paced. She cried. She looked at the trees like they'd have answers. Eventually she left. I didn't ask where she was going. I didn't care. Now I don't know what to do. If the kid is mine, that opens a whole new set of problems. If it's not, she's just dragging me through another lie wrapped in drama. Do I go through with the paternity test if she follows up? Do I cut her out completely? What would you do? Because right now, all I know is I'm tired of being collateral damage in someone else's emotional experiment. It's been a week since Megan showed up at the cabin, dropped the "I might be pregnant and it might be yours" bomb, and disappeared into the trees like some twisted forest ghost. I wish I could tell you that was the end of it. I wish I could say she left and stayed gone. She didn't. The texts started 2 days later. First, a photo of a positive pregnancy test. Next, an ultrasound appointment card. Then a long-ass message that started with, "I just want to do what's right," and ended with, "Please just be there for me if this baby is yours." She wants me to come to the appointment. To sit in a sterile little room while a technician points at a grainy dot and tells me whether or not my entire future is about to be rewritten because my fiancée wanted to emotionally reconnect with her ex. I didn't respond. Then she sent a voice message. I listened once. It was 5 minutes of sobbing, circular logic, and more bullshit about how if I just stayed, we could have worked through this together. She has zero idea how insane she sounds. And here's the kicker, I found out from Danny, Megan's best friend, apparently my only real ally in this mess, that Josh, the ex, is now denying the baby is his. Says Megan told him she was on birth control and now he's not interested in being manipulated into fatherhood. Danny heard him yelling on speakerphone and said he called Megan a codependent psycho. She's spiraling. And now I'm in the crosshairs again. Danny offered to go to the appointment with Megan so I wouldn't have to. I said thanks but no. I decided to go. Yeah, I know. I'm probably an idiot. But I needed answers. Not for her. For me. So I went. Walked into the OB's office like a man walking into a courtroom. Megan was already there, sitting in a chair with that same helpless but calculated expression she always wore when she needed sympathy. She smiled when she saw me. I didn't smile back. The appointment was surreal. The nurse asked me if I was the father. I said, "That's what I'm here to find out." Awkward silence. We didn't talk during the ultrasound. Just stared at the screen while the tech took measurements and printed out black and white photos of a tiny, developing thing that might have been created out of love, or betrayal, or both. Afterward, in the parking lot, Megan turned to me and said, "I'm glad you came." I looked her dead in the eyes. "I didn't come for you." She flinched. But she kept pushing. "Can we talk? Just 10 minutes. I'll buy you a coffee." I was about to say no when she added, "I'll tell you the truth. The whole truth. No more lies." That part got me. We went to a little cafe nearby. Sat across from each other in silence until I said, "Start talking." She took a long breath, then launched into it. A full confession. She did sleep with Josh. 3 times. Not just once like she originally implied. The whole "I need clarity" thing was a lie she rehearsed in the mirror. She said she knew Josh was a mistake, but she wanted to feel powerful again. Wanted to be wanted by someone who once made her feel worthless. And then get this, she admitted she never really expected me to leave. That the whole time off suggestion was her way of shaking things up, testing the waters. Like our relationship was an experiment. I needed to know you'd still be there. I laughed. Out loud. It just slipped out. Let me get this straight, I said. You cheated on me with your toxic ex to test my loyalty? She nodded, eyes glassy. I know how it sounds. No, I snapped. You really don't. I left her there. With her half-drunk latte and her crocodile tears. I went straight back to the cabin, packed a weekend bag, and drove 6 hours to stay with my cousin. Just needed air. Distance. Something real. This morning, I got the paternity test kit in the mail. I'm not even sure I want to open it. Read it, I'm exhausted. Every time I think I've hit the bottom of this emotional pit, Megan breaks out a shovel and digs deeper. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be the fallback guy. The guy she runs to when her toxic ex rejects her again. The guy she strings along while she finds herself. And now maybe the father of her child? I don't know what to do. I've already called a lawyer to ask about custody if the baby is mine. But what if it's not? What if she's just dragging me into this mess because she doesn't want to be alone? And even if it is mine, can I co-parent with someone who did all of this? Is it possible to protect a child from that kind of chaos? Anyway, that's where I'm at. This has been the ugliest chapter of my life, and in a sick way, writing it all out has helped me breathe through the mess. So, thanks for being here, even if just as spectators to the crash. Let's start where I left off. I took the paternity test. Swabbed my mouth with hands that were shaking so bad I had to redo it because I dropped the kit the first time. I mailed it off, knowing that whatever came back would split my life into one of 2 timelines. I walk away from Megan forever, no strings, no ties. I am legally, biologically, and emotionally connected to the woman who broke me. It took 9 days. And Reddit, the baby is mine. It was like getting punched and hugged at the same time. There's something deeply primal about knowing you've created life. I felt this weird, instinctual sense of protectiveness even though I wanted nothing to do with Megan. I called her, said I'd gotten the results. She didn't say, "Is it yours?" She said, "I knew it." No apology. No remorse. Just I knew it. Like she was relieved I couldn't escape her now. I told her I would take care of my responsibilities as a father, not as a partner. I said very clearly, "This doesn't change anything between us. You and I are done. But that baby is innocent and I will be there. Not for you, for them." Her response? She got mad. Legitimately mad. Said I was making this harder than it needs to be, that we could still have something, raise the baby together. She even floated moving in with me. I said no. She cried. I didn't comfort her. I hung up. I spoke to my lawyer. We started drafting a custody agreement. I want to be involved, but on my terms. I'm asking for joint legal custody, scheduled visitations, and paternity rights. I also requested that all communication go through a parenting app. I told her not to contact me directly anymore unless it's an emergency. I rented a condo closer to the city. Closer to where the baby will be. I still have the cabin, my escape hatch, but I can't run forever. This kid deserves better than that. And here's the part one didn't expect. I'm weirdly okay. Not happy. Not free. But grounded. Focused. Because this whole experience, as much as it shattered me, also rebuilt me. In the quiet, in the absence of her noise, I started remembering who I was before I bent myself to make her comfortable. Before I started shrinking so she could feel big. I go to therapy now. I've reconnected with friends I hadn't seen since before Megan and I got serious. One of them, a girl I dated for a few months in college, asked me out for coffee. No expectations. Just 2 people catching up, no mess, no emotional reconnections or closure retreats. I didn't say yes. But I didn't say no either.